Today's lesson is requesting leave. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're talking about something called requesting leave. Usually this happens when you're at work and you want to take a day off from work to do something. You've got some matters to attend to, so you need to ask for leave from the company, a day or two off, and this is what's happening. And we've got different kinds of situations here. Today we're going to talk about requesting leave from class. That means you're in school and you need to leave the class for whatever reason to do something. And we're also requesting leave for an emergency. The first conversation is between Mr. Davis and Chloe. So let's find out what their conversation is all about. Let's listen and we'll be right back to talk about it.
Requesting leave. 1. Requesting leave from class. Feeling sick, Chloe calls her teacher, Mr. Davis, to request a leave of absence from class. Tom Davis speaking.
Hi, Mr. Davis, it's Chloe. Unfortunately, I'm feeling a bit under the weather and need to take a sick day today, so I won't be able to take the exam. Could I take a makeup exam later?
Uh-oh, maybe you've caught that cold that's been going around. In any case, yes, I can give you a makeup exam, but you'll need to provide medical documentation of your illness.
I understand. I'll bring a note from my doctor to you. Thank you for being flexible.
No problem. Feel better soon, and we'll figure out the makeup exam once you're well.
Okay, thank you.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 makeup， 意思是补考、弥补或是补偿。例如 If you can't attend the computer test today, there will be a makeup test next Friday. 如果你今天不能参加电脑考试，下周五会有补考。另外补充这个字也有化妆品的意思。来造个句子 Every morning, Shelly puts on makeup after she washes her face. 每天早上 Shelly 洗脸后都会上妆。再看一句 The models wore dramatic makeup that matched their outfits during the fashion show. 模特儿们在时装秀上画着和他们服装相搭的戏剧性妆容。再来看到名词 documentation， 表示证明文件。例如You will need to provide proper documentation to apply for the visa. 你需要提供适当的证明文件才能申请签证。或是 Please make sure all your documentation is up to date before submitting the form. 请确保你的所有证明文件都是最新的再提交表格。继续看到形容词 flexible， 它的意思是弹性的或是灵活的、肯变通的。例如 My work hours are flexible.Which allows me to balance work and family life. 我的工作时间很有弹性，让我能平衡工作和家庭生活。也可以说 You need to be flexible in your travel plans due to unpredictable weather. 由于不可预测的天气，你需要在旅行计划上有弹性。另外补充这个字的名词 flexibility. F-L-E-X-I-B-I-L-I-T-Y flexibility 指灵活性、可变动性。举个例子 At Judy's office, there is a great deal of flexibility in working hours. 在 Judy 的办公室，工作时间有很大的灵活性。或是 Dancers must have a great deal of flexibility. 舞者必须有绝佳的柔软度。
Okay, so again, we're talking about requesting leave. Usually leave is a verb. That means you just are in one place and then you make yourself so you're not in that place. You go somewhere else. You leave that place. You need to leave. You're actually being very obnoxious. Please get out of here. Please leave. But in this particular case, the word leave is a noun. It refers to when you actually need to be absent from school or work.
Exactly right. And oftentimes when we ask for leave, we might also use another term to describe what kind of leave or for what reason. You can ask for maternity leave if you're going to be having a baby. A woman, a mother would ask for maternity leave. A father might ask for paternity leave. There could also just be sick leave. You know, if you're unwell and you want to stay home or have to see the doctor, you might get sick leave. And bereavement leave would be if you had a death in the family. Someone very close to you has died and you need some time off work to attend to matters with your family and go through all of that. You would ask for that type of bereavement leave or leave because someone close to you has passed away. So let's find out what's going on here. We're requesting leave from class, not from work or your job, which of course is also common, but from school because you don't want to miss some tests and not get the chance to make up your grades again. So it says, feeling sick, Chloe calls her teacher, Mr. Davis, to request a leave of absence from class. So this is nice. She's calling up, doing this in person or at least on the phone, not writing an email or a text message or something. So Mr. Davis, it says, answers the phone. Tom Davis speaking. That's how he answers the phone, which is, of course, very professional. Chloe says, hi, Mr. Davis, it's Chloe. And then she gets into her issue. Unfortunately, I'm feeling a bit under the weather and need to take a sick day today, so I won't be able to take the exam. So there you go, nice and concise. She's feeling a bit under the weather. That's just another interesting way of saying sick. I'm feeling sick. Maybe nothing huge. She didn't have a heart attack or get into a terrible car accident or anything. Probably more like a cold or a flu or a stomach bug or something like that. So she's just not feeling 100%. She's feeling a bit sick. She needs to take a sick day today. That's another way of talking about it. If it's just one day, you might say a sick day. Leave gives the impression that it might be a little bit longer, a little bit more than a day, but basically the same kind of thing. So I won't be able to take the exam. Well, yes, this is definitely a time to notify your professor, your teacher at school. You can miss a class and maybe catch up with the notes by borrowing them from another student. But of course, if you miss a test or exam, you won't get the chance to earn those grades, and that could, of course, affect your final mark. So she asks, could I take a makeup exam later? Yeah, that's a pretty common way of solving this problem. If you're going to miss a class for whatever reason, and that class will have a test or exam or something important, you will ask to take a makeup. Notice we have makeup here as one word. This is not I will make it up to you, like I will sort of fix things in a situation, or it's also not like the noun makeup, like a lady might put on makeup or some men might put on makeup if they're putting on lipstick or things to make their face more attractive. This is a makeup exam, so we're using makeup here kind of as an adjective because you're making it up. You're kind of fixing the situation. You're returning it back to its normal order by finding a later time to take the exam in order to get the grades, even if she can't take the exam on the scheduled date of today.
Right, it's a supplemental exam. It could happen for an exam or an assignment. It's just simply delayed. You can do it later than when you were supposed to. And Mr. Davis says, uh-oh, maybe you've caught that cold that's been going around. So, of course, he knows that other people have been sick as well. So this cold has been spreading. It's been going around. If something goes around, it just spreads from person to person in a society. A rumor might go around the office that the boss is going to sell the company or something like that. And in this particular case, they were talking about the cold, the common cold that people sometimes get. And it's been going around. Of course, as you know, about 2 or 3 years ago, the COVID-19 virus was going around. It was spreading all over the place. Hopefully that crisis is behind us now. But yes, the cold has been going around, and maybe other students have been getting sick as well. Now, in any case, no matter what, yes, I can give you a makeup exam, but you'll need to provide medical documentation of your illness. So in any case, whether you've got the cold that's going around or not, it does sound like you're sick. So I can give you a makeup exam. We can schedule it for a later time, but I have a condition here. You'll need to provide medical documentation of your illness. Now, documentation just means you get an official document, some kind of piece of paper with information written on it, and they probably do this to make sure that students don't actually ask for a makeup exam when they're faking their illness and they just need another day to study for it. They don't feel they're ready for it. Hey, I'll just call the professor and say I'm sick and I'll take the exam another time. No, you can't do that. You need to go see the doctor to prove that you're actually sick. You need to get that documentation.
Exactly right. Or a more informal way, he might say, I need to see a doctor's note. In other words, medical documentation, something from a medical professional who has examined you and who can attest, who can swear, who can guarantee that, yes, this person was sick. All pretty standard. Doesn't mean they don't trust you. They just want to make sure that everyone is playing fair by the rules. So Chloe says, I understand. Yeah, that's perfectly acceptable. She kind of expected to hear something like that from her professor. She says, I'll bring a note from my doctor to you. So she'll go see the doctor, get checked out, get a prescription for her medicine, and then at the end, she'll just ask the doctor for a note, a little written message from the doctor to her boss, her teacher, whoever she needs to give it to, saying, yes, I looked at this person, Chloe, she is sick, and she'll be able to return to class on such and such a date. All of that will be very official and will, I'm sure, make Mr. Davis much more reassured about the situation. So she'll bring this note. As I said, a note is a little written message with just kind of important information on it, a quick greeting or something like that. A lot of things that we used to write maybe as notes, we would now write as a text message or something like that. And so she says, thank you for being flexible. Thank you for being flexible. If you're flexible, well, if we're talking about a person, it just means you can adjust to the situation. You're not kind of stuck by following one set of rules all the time, no matter what's going on around you. When we think of things that are flexible, a young tree might be flexible. When the wind blows, it kind of bends, it goes with the wind. It's not sort of stiff and strong and has the chance of snapping or breaking. If you're not flexible, like our bones aren't very flexible, then they can snap and break. But if you do a lot of yoga, then your bones and your muscles will allow your body, your entire body, to be quite flexible. It can bend, it can shift, it can move in all sorts of different positions in different ways, and it can adjust to many different situations and positions. So by being flexible here, Chloe is thanking Mr. Davis for allowing her to take this exam at a slightly later date and not just fail the exam because she won't be there tomorrow.
Yeah, Mr. Davis could be strict. He could say, nope, you got to take the exam today. If you miss it, that's too bad. You'll fail the course. But he's actually being very flexible here. And he says, no problem. Feel better soon. He could also say, get well soon. And we'll figure out the makeup exam once you're well. So when you actually recover from your cold, when you feel better, then we will figure out when to give you the makeup exam. We'll arrange a time and a place, and I will give you the makeup exam when you're ready. And Chloe is grateful. She says, okay, thank you. Okay, that brings us to the end of our first conversation for today. Here comes the second one, requesting leave for an emergency. We've got Oscar calling his supervisor, Lily, and he has a special request. Let's find out what it's all about.
2. Requesting leave for an emergency. Oscar calls his supervisor at work, Lily, to make a special request. Hello?
Hi, Lily. It's Oscar. Sorry to bother you, but I'm dealing with a family emergency. I need to take some time off, starting immediately.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How much time do you think you'll need?
I'm not sure yet. Hopefully just a couple of days, but I'll keep you posted. Could you arrange for someone to cover my shifts while I'm away?
Yes, don't worry about that. We'll make sure your shifts are covered. Just focus on your family and let me know when you have more information.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much.
第二部分介绍名词 supervisor， 表示主管、指导者或是管理者。我们可以说 Jack has already brought the problem up with his supervisor. Jack 已经向他的主管提出了这个问题。又或者说 My supervisor has worked for the company for more than 20 years. 我的主管在公司工作了20多年。最后看到 shift 这个单字，它是名词，意思是轮班或是轮班时间。例如 Leslie works the night shift at the convenience store. Leslie 在便利商店上夜班。再看一个例子 Tom used to work a 12-hour shift at a Japanese restaurant. Tom 以前在一家日本料理餐厅上12个小时的班。这边顺便补充这个字为动词时，意思是转移或是改变、移动。可以说 Responsibility for the project will be shifted to the new manager next month. 该专案的责任将在下个月转移给新的经理。最后一个例子 I shifted my bed into a different position so I could look out the window. 我把床移到了另一个位置，这样我才能看到窗外。
Okay, so again here in the second conversation for today, the title is Requesting Leave for an Emergency. Now, of course, there are different ways or different situations in which you want to request a leave. Sick leave was the one we talked about in the first one between Chloe and Mr. Davis there. But in this particular case, it's an emergency, a very dire situation that needs to be handled right away. It could mean someone's life or death. It could be a matter of life and death. So here Oscar calls his supervisor at work, and he's got this special request. I guess he's going to request a leave for an emergency. If you're working in a company, of course, you've got the boss, and then you've got managers, and you probably have supervisors as well. They are responsible for people under them, maybe 5 or 6 people, who knows. That's the person who kind of keeps an eye on you to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. And if you have some problems, you talk to your supervisor.
There you go. Your direct manager right above you, kind of making sure that you're doing the right work, and they're responsible also for the work that you do. So, of course, the supervisor wants all of their workers to be doing a good job. Supervisors may not have the ability to hire and fire people, but they certainly are there sort of looking over your shoulder, making sure you're doing the right work. And any problems that happen with your work, they may also have to answer to the boss for. So they want to make sure that everything is going smoothly. So that's why Oscar is calling his supervisor. She is his direct contact with the sort of management of the company, so she will handle his issues. So she answers the phone. Hello. And Oscar begins, "Hi, Lily, it's Oscar." So clearly they work on a fairly close basis. He's not calling her like Mrs. Jones or something like that. He's calling her by her first name. So this is a fairly close professional relationship. "Sorry to bother you," he says, "but I'm dealing with a family emergency." All right. So yes, this is something that might bring a little bit of extra stress and aggravation to his supervisor's day, having one of her workers not show up. So he's kind of a bit apologetic. "Sorry to bother you, bring this trouble to you." But he says, "I'm dealing with a family emergency." He doesn't have to go right into the details at first, just saying like something like that, a family emergency. It is kind of a personal issue. So he just sort of uses this blanket term to talk about there's something wrong with my family. It's quite urgent and I need to go take care of it. As he says, I need to take some time off starting immediately. You can imagine someone in his family has just gotten sick. Maybe someone has passed away, something like that. But it's a pretty bad situation. He has to go help his family out of it. And so he'll need a bit of time off from work.
Exactly. And of course, this is personal. It's private. So Lily probably has no right to ask him exactly what happened. He can certainly tell her if he wants to, but she's not going to ask him exactly what the emergency is. And she says, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How much time do you think you'll need?" Okay, so again, he needs to request some time off. He needs to request a leave for an emergency. Yeah, how much time do you think you'll need? A day or two, a week? Yeah, tell me exactly how much time we're talking about here. And Oscar says, "I'm not sure yet. Hopefully just a couple of days, but I'll keep you posted." So he's not quite sure. Maybe his father or his grandfather or grandmother had an emergency medical problem and had to go to the hospital, and they don't know what's going to happen in the future. So he's not quite sure exactly how much time he needs for this. He'll just have to wait and see what happens here. And hopefully it will just take a couple of days, okay? And everything should be okay after that. I'll keep you posted. If you keep someone posted, that means you give them updates. You keep them informed of the situation so they know what's going on.
Exactly right. I'll be responsible for getting in touch with you in the near future to let you know, when things change, how long I'll be away, when I should be coming back. But for now, he says, could you arrange for someone to cover my shifts while I'm away? That's basically the point of this call. He's going to be away and he doesn't want to leave the company shorthanded. So he's hoping with a little bit of advance notice, maybe a day or two, the supervisor can arrange for someone to organize basically another worker to cover his shifts while he is away. And your shift is that period at which you should be at your job doing your work. Many businesses might be open longer than 8 or 10 hours a day. They might be open 24 hours a day, in which case, for example, you would have 3 shifts probably. Each worker would go in for around 8 hours, and that would be their shift. So I have the morning shift. I come in at 9 and I leave at 5. And then there's the evening shift from 5 until 1 in the morning. And then there's the night shift from 1 in the morning through to 9 a.m. when the morning shift comes back. So that's basically what we're talking about, the way we break down a working day and break down a working schedule to make sure that there will be workers there for all the different times that the business is open and it needs staff to be on location. So basically, can you arrange for someone to come in and do my work at the time I would normally normally be doing my work while I'm not there, while I'm away. And Lily says, the supervisor says, yes, don't worry about that. So she's being very nice and considerate and accommodating here. She's not giving him any oh, no, that's going to be so hard because Bob's on his ski trip. And no, she's just kind of like, yes, don't worry about that. We'll handle it. We'll make sure your shifts are covered. Just focus on your family and let me know when you have more information. So don't worry. She's being very supportive here to Oscar. We'll take care of that. We'll find some other workers. You, in the meantime, focus on your family. Go to your family. Do the things you need to do to help and support them and be there at this time of crisis. And let me know when you have more information. This is the stay in touch, keep me posted. Give me a call in a day or two. Once you get back home, you find out what's going on, how much time you think you'll be away. I'd like to have an update. But for now, focus on the family. And Oscar, very thankfully, to have this nice, understanding boss, says, okay, I will. Thank you so much.
Indeed. So it sounds like they have a very flexible working environment there with enough employees to cover for him as he's taking an emergency leave. And, of course, they can cover for other people if they have problems as well. So it's nice to work for such a company if you do have an emergency like that. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. It's time to hear now from Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第一部分的对话里， Chloe 打电话给她的老师 Mr. Davis 向他请假。那么 Chloe 在电话里面提到 I'm feeling a bit under the weather and need to take a sick day today. 我身体有点不舒服，今天需要请病假。好，那我们知道 weather 是指天气。Under the weather 从字面上来看是受天气影响了，那这个片语意思其实就跟 unwell 差不多，用来表达身体不舒服、身体不适。那通常不会是很严重的疾病，而这个用语常常搭配 feel 一起使用。我们这边也补充2个跟 weather 有关的用语。第一个是 fair weather。Fair 是拼作 F-A-I-R。 好，那这个用语呢，从字面上来看是天气晴朗的、好天气的。可是当我们说 fair weather friends， 其实是用来指酒肉朋友，不能患难与共的朋友，也就是那些在你顺遂或发达的时候就跟你当朋友，当你患难或落魄的时候就会消失离你而去的人哦。好，再来补充的第2个是 weather the storm。Weather 在这里是当动词，它有平安度过或是承受住的语义。那么 weather the storm 字面上是指承受住暴风雨的袭击，就是用来表达说度过难关，平安度过危机。好，我们看到课文第2部分的对话里， Oscar 因为要处理家里的急事，他打电话向主管 Lily 请假一段时间，想拜托主管安排人来帮他代班。那主管要他别担心，他就说 We'll make sure your shifts are covered. 我们会确保有人代班。那这边来补充一下 make sure 的相关用法。我们看到它第一个用法是 make sure 可以表达确保、务必，那么后面可以接 that 子句。而 that 可以省略，就像课文的用法。另外 make sure 也可以接不定词 to be。 好，举例来说 make sure to back up your work before you log off。 登出之前务必要把工作资料备份。好，那第2个我们可以用 make sure 去表达确认啊、查明或是弄清楚，之后可以接 of 加名词，或者是接 that 子句，那么 that 一样可以省略。例如 I just called to make sure that you were all right， 或者是 to make sure you were all right， 我只是打电话来确认一下你没事。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Makeup. The makeup quiz will be held next Monday after school. Flexible. Being flexible helps you respond to different situations easily. Supervisor. If you have any problems, please report them to your supervisor immediately. Shift. My shift tomorrow starts at 8 a.m. and ends at 4 p.m.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.